Wilfong,
Here.
Stacy Yoakum,
Present.
Carl Thomas, Anthony Campbell,
Present.
Mary Lyle,
Here.
Trevor Warren.
Here.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody want to do the invocation? I'll need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda. I'll second.
Leslie Wilfong,
Yes.
Stacy Yoakum,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Mary Lyle,
Yes.
Trevor Warren.
Yes.
5-0, carried.
First up would be roof bids for police department. You should have a copy of all those on there, please.
We have two.
There's two there. The only two I know of.
No, it's just a week.
Do you have any questions or concerns? There's one.
So one bid is just for the roof,
That's right.
and then these has the roof and then the interior.
That's separate.
It's separate. It's just like printed on the first page of this.
So
Okay.
the McElhaney, if I may, the McElhaney bid includes for the roof anyway, is the roof, a new gutter system, and painting, and making the outside look the same as the front.
Okay, so we're just looking at the roof bid.
Correct. But so the McElhaney one, that is, I don't know what the other one was, but that is pulling off the back metal face, just the back metal of that square front, tying in with the purlins, and then going through, but then also the new guttering and painting the exterior.
I think they're both the same, I believe.
Is it?
I think the only difference is paint.
I didn't.
Is that from the same, don't we have a sprayer, do you, we have to spray that?
Yeah, we have a story.
We spray it. Save us $600. Or $560. Maybe $200.
So it's a few hundred.
But we are not addressing the internal
Yes.
Stacy Oakham,
Yes.
Anthony Campbell,
Yes.
Mary Wise,
Yes.
Earl Morrison,
Yes.
carries 5-0.
Next up would be insurance for city business licenses, what I believe it's supposed to say, it says city licenses. I think we talked about it in our, make sure along with this, we proceeded to require workers' comp and encourage general liability, so we're at,
It was the other way, wasn't it?
workers' comp is,
Was that the right? To require general liability and workers' comp.
I don't think you guys are returning Kevin. That's one of the conversation I was involved in.
we talked about it, where we at on it.
I think we all kind of brainstormed about it. I thought we had to write something.
We need an
It
ordinance.
has to be very specific.
I drafted one for the workers' comp, because a lot of cities require that. And I think there's some problems with enforceability of general liability unless you set limits and definitions for coverage. I mean,
Let's just proceed with that, then. I don't know if we need a motion or anything, we'll let you, you got that next, we'll put that on January's agenda, if that's fine with you.
That is what we're seeing with workers' comp.
And workers' comp, we should strongly encourage general liability. I think as we transition to ever have any type of code, like building code or so on, that's something maybe we can address then.
yeah, I mean, like, when I look for sample ordinances when other cities require, a lot of them refer to if you're doing a building, if you're doing construction or demolition, then they want some certificate of insurance approved before you do that kind of stuff. But just for general business operating, selling goods or whatever, I don't see anybody applying for a business.
I think it's just hard for us, to we have a couple of us here that are in construction field, they all require for us, those cities, so it's just, it's kind of, you know. I understand it requires, but they can't enforce it.
Seems like that's pretty bad, it's a city business. Also, we talked about, I told you about it, the ones that are happening with, you have to pay the fee.
I think that's, we need to start.
Just a little bit different, but still, something like mentioned, you have to, you gotta cut straight things with you pay the $500. And that covers your pay, you still have to back up around.
And that would be for like any outside utility.
Yes. Say like you Trevor want to dig up a sewer line, like.
But not for the city.
Not just, of course.
No,
It's just for outside contractors.
right. You could go from $500 to somewhere.
That's what. Okay. Those are all the things about that. I don't think so.
We'll wait till we get the
Yes. Next will be dumpsters and trash trucks. I don't want to rekindle this too much, but what I will say is I'm not against us ever moving forward to doing trash. I think the problem is, in my mindset, and speaking for me, not the council, I just want to clarify a couple things. I think we have so much going on right now that Army would love to take over trash because I think it can be income for us, but I don't know what the sewer, we need to take care of water, we need to take care of city streets. If I feel like we have enough people or manpower to manage that right now, that's my thoughts on it, not necessarily the council. And as far as the dumpsters, I know I've pushed wash back a lot of this, but I will say this after hearing a couple concerned citizens, I don't want to open this up for too much of argument. I talked to Mary just briefly about it, but I'll talk to you guys and open about it too. If we're ever going to think about this, I am twofold, I can see both sides of this. On the dumpsters themselves, the trash trucks, I think, in my opinion, 100% would go. I will say as far as the dumpsters, if we wanted to, we could keep it plain devil's advocate here. I mean, Mary, we talked about this briefly. Where are they going to be in 5 years? Are they going to be right worse than they are? I don't, I mean,
I'd like to take bids on them with the condition that we don't have to accept.
that's perfect. That's
Because
perfect.
I would, if we split them up, I would say.
And I'm
I would like to see what we
I like
get.
to slow down sometimes, you know,
or buy a newer model. The only thing I can say, and this was something I was thinking about, if it comes back, and we're having a trash truck, if it comes back and we want this one, fixable, easily, would it be, could we go ahead and put one truck operation and start with
Well, we can do that, but I truly think we're going to buy a trash
I
truck.
guess I was saying do less demand. I'll just pick it up 5 or 6.
Do we have anybody even with the CDL right now other than, currently without, we have anybody?
No, we don't have to see
I thought
it.
recommendations did, well, the newest one does.
But he's not just retired. Oh, okay. That's fine. The newest one does.
And I thought the last one.
No, he doesn't have to see it.
It takes it over.
So we talked about this the other night, we obviously know at this point, me as a consumer, and I'm a little different because I have a dumpster, and so let me be very upfront with everybody, but me as a consumer, I'm going to let a trash can move forward. We talked about this, and I think it's anywhere from 40, we can kind of guess a price, $40,000 to $50,000 right up front. So we got, you weren't here, but we had this conversation. Right off the bat, we're going to be $40,000, $50,000 in the hole for trash cans. And whether we like it or not, we're going to be real close to that. Then in my opinion, and some of you guys will differ, but we'll have a, we're going to be in the hole a little bit, whether we lease or buy a newer model dump truck, which I'm going to guess makes maybe $35,000 to $40,000 for something with a side loader, so we could track one person can do it. That's how you do it. So it has a side loader for the trash cans and such. I look quite bad, that's what they're coming up as. I found some that I would say 35.
The ones I saw was anywhere from 8 to 50.
Yeah.
I mean, $8,000 to $50,000, that's side loaders, full
So,
load.
I don't know.
I guess, I don't know, guys, I mean, my thought process on it is just that, I think the truck's gotta go. They're sitting out there, the bottoms of them going to get the rotten, I mean, you put screwdrivers in the bottoms of them. They're no need to us. You could, Trevor. I don't know if that's, because it's got hydro operator, it works. I'm not gonna say it can't be done, but, yeah, I don't know that one. I've never actually, out there, I can operate a trash truck, so I can drive a trash truck, but I've never actually.
I can't drive it.
I say in the last couple of days, I learned how to operate it.
That's my 2 cents on it. So if we want to put like a reserve on, or at our discretion on the dumpsters, I'm fine with it. So,
Can we do that without an actual number?
yeah, we can. We can put our discrepancy. Yeah.
Because can't we say on the dumpsters, we're accepting bids, but we don't have to take the
Right,
bids?
you do, right to refuse all bids.
Yes.
Any and all bids.
So if we decide we want to
All
keep.
for selling trash.
We should probably do that on all things in the
We
future.
should. I agree.
We do that.
Yeah, we do it.
Trash trucks, dumpsters, maybe if we want to kind of brush around some trash. The problem with the trash cans now, Daniel, did you get actual numbers on the trash cans?
No, I have not had a chance to go down and count.
How many roughly of those have bottoms? Do you know?
I say probably 20 out of the 60's got bad bottoms.
I'm gonna even go further, guys, to say that even if we ever take over trash cans, I don't see us needing 60 of them. I could be real mistaken on this. Yeah. I don't see, I'm saying 30.
We got 60?
Yeah, there's 6 tractors.
How many yards? How many
$10
yards?
range from 2 to.
They're from 2 yards all the way up to 8 yards.
You don't have any number on how many?
But you have more, what, 4
I
and,
got more than 4 and the 6 of them, I think I got anything
I
else.
think it's common. What size is the big trailer?
4, I'd say.
That's my size,
The one you got at your house trailer is 2 yards. Is it bigger than this one down here? They told me those are 2 yards, so.
The 2 yards, mine's got 4 panels.
Oh, I didn't know you had 4 panels yet. That's
The
a
2, the 2s are just.
Mine's a 2.
Half.
So go show it.
That's why mine is.
All right, so we're all in agreement on that. We need a motion. I need a motion with our agenda.
put it out, we can do that to put it out to bid.
Yes. With the right to refuse all bids. Somebody wrote
For the dumpsters, or
trash trucks, just do one year.
anyone. Okay, so I'll make a motion to put up for bid weeks.
Last, when we met last Thursday, we said we'd go out to 112.
Okay, so till the 12th of June.
I think it's a good time to the holidays. I personally know a lot of people that buy stuff to the holidays because they weren't going to play. So I think that'd be perfect. I think we should start putting this, and I'll make sure I do it on Facebook too, so.
What about, I thought we was gonna try to sell trash trucks online,
Yeah.
rather than,
We'll put the trash trucks on the deals.
Yeah. Put the trash trucks online and we'll put the dumpsters in the local.
Scout deals we'll have to work on their schedule a little bit.
We have an account there.
Yes, we do. But Gov deals will tell us.
Whatever they require, they might require 30 days.
Yeah. Probably 2 weeks or something like that.
So we're gonna put the dumpsters in the paper, right to refuse, out to 112.
Put trash trucks on Gov deals.
And the trucks on go.
Did you get a second? No.
I'll second that.
Wesley?
yes.
Wilhelm? Stacy Oakham?
Yeah.
Anthony Campbell?
Yes.
Mary Wise?
Yes.
Herb Moore?
Yes.
Do we have a quick update? No, she's not here. Pray for our clerk. So, her husband's sick. So I will put that out there. Maintenance update, you got anything?
No.
Good. Police update?
Yes. I want to talk about the Spillman Photo Solution software that I'd like to move to. You guys will have a copy of this up there. It doesn't actually have anything in there necessarily how it works, so I have that here, and I can show you information, YouTube videos, things of that nature, or I can bring it with me. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a large number. When I first made contact with them, it was nearly 25,000 more than that, and I paralleled as much as possible, argued with them, and I've talked to CommCenter over the last 2 months trying to find out what CommCenter provides versus what they were trying to charge me in this quote. This software is the records management system, the computer automated dispatch, and also 3 vehicles on a digital summons or digital citations. The RMS will allow, it also is the evidence as well, so it will allow us to have a barcode system and all digital evidence, logging in, logging out, all the evidence tracking. The RMS would now be from when CommCenter or us generates a call to the point that we either send it to the prosecuting attorney if he wishes to download it, or if he wants it on paper, we can print it out and send it down there. But from A to Z, it will all be under Motorola, and it will all communicate, it will all interface. That includes the digital citations as well. From the point that we upload it to the point that we hit submit, then the submission will go to the court clerk, the courts, the prosecuting attorney, be it Jeff or Hillman, and then it will also be reverted back to the RMS system automatically. So there will be no touching of papers or anything with the officers or anyone else. It will alleviate the issues of incorrect entries, the mishap of bad handwriting, I'm guilty of, amongst other things. It will also resolve the issue. We can then do nuisance court, ordinance court, traffic courts. We can separate all those up and we can make dockets respective of those. With that, the biggest number of that portion is they want to come down and do training and startup. That's $20,000 what they want for that. I balked at it, I've argued with them, but that's their number because they say they have to send people out for 2 weeks and do the training and the startup for that system. That will be them coming out to train everyone here, and also if we end up doing this, I've invited CommCenter to come out and retrain with us so that everyone is on board with all the new updates. The traffic citations, like I said, I do have paperwork on that, it's not in there, but it's not a motivation to write citations faster and in more quantities. It will help us on the backside. A lot of the savings will be all of the entries and submissions on the backside that you don't see, all of the hours to put in the citations in the network, shipping them over to Jeff, whether or not I lose them in transition or not. So all of those things will be taken care of then. The system that we've got a quote for is, it's called Citations by Service, I believe what they call it. So it's not, we don't own the product, we own the software and the license, but anytime anything would happen with any of their product, they would come out and fix it. All of the thermal paper is provided by them, 24-hour tech support, and any issues are taken care of 100%. That is a 5-year contract through those. So, and every year the license year agreement is, I believe, $11,000. But that is 100% them taking care of everything except us writing citations. The Motorola Solutions, to jump back on it, that will allow us to, in my opinion, have better records management and evidence setup. We'll do everything then from evidence to our records management, and then also a mobile booking, so we can do our book and release here, have photographs and all of that entry done as well. I believe it will help us come into a faster, more efficient and effective policing versus having 3 different arm wrestles when I started and nobody knew how to run anything.
What's it cost us yearly?
What's that?
What's our yearly cost?
Yearly cost will be, I believe it was 13, and that's for the yearly cost of the maintenance fees.
HP basically.
Yes. Adding it.
And that's for the 3 cars. Respectively, obviously, if we end up getting more cars, if we decide to outfit them with such, it will be another addition for that vehicle.
How many cars is this for?
3, right now it's 3. The original that I believe I showed you guys a while back, I wasn't able to talk about it, but I showed you, that was for 4 vehicles. With this, I talked to him, so there's no sense in me getting 4 if I only have 3 vehicles right now, so.
How much is a year? That $20,000 delivery, that's the training.
That's the training, then coming down, formatting the software for our office, putting in all of our ordinances, all the state ordinances, and getting everything set up to our.
Does this eliminate any line items on your current budget?
It eliminates the Crime Star annual license fees and the cost for citation books, and then a lot of it's the man hours or personnel hours, because I shouldn't discriminate. The yearly is that the 38 is the upfront. The first year is not included with the maintenance fees, it's all worked in there. And then after that is the 13-ish. I can't remember exactly what the definitive number was. There's a breakdown of the yearly afterward.
I think that's bottom of page 4, is that what that is, the future maintenance contract?
Yes, that's what that is. So it'd be right around, it'd be less than 15 a year.
Okay.
Well, in my opinion, we don't have the best pay rate here. We don't have the best equipment. But when you get into how easy is the workflow, how easy are the things for the officers to do, how easy is for the evidence technician to do those things, so we don't revert back to how it was when I first took over. I believe adding those key points of ease and effectiveness and efficiency for the officers is a reason to come down here and work, end up itself. Give them more of an opportunity to do their job versus sitting in the office doing paperwork.
I got it right at, it's 15,358 on all of the one-year term. If I'm reading it right. Each one, I see the one-year term is 15,358, and that's not with cents, so 15,400 or somewhere in there.
What's your opinion, Mr. Dawes?
I mean, I just don't know enough about it, and obviously, essentially, 15-page, 20-page contract, I mean, read with it, I mean, as long as it complies with state law and makes things easier on the police department, I'm not sure. I don't know if, I don't have his budget in front of me to know if what this eliminates. I mean, this isn't just straight 15,000, 38 now and 15 a year, because that, you're gonna lose some line items on Crime Star and other things that he's got on his budget. So the actual cost to the city, I don't know today. There are some new, I think this helps comply with.
NIBRS also, yeah, I forgot to finish that. So the compliance with NIBRS now, the NIBRS will be built into this, and also the racial profiling is built into it, which I know you know the racial profiling. The racial profiling will all be automatic. At the end of that month, I can do a run report, which will print me or save me a PDF, and then that PDF can be sent to the state for report versus going through all the manual entries or going through the Crime Star looking for the racial profile.
You said this isn't compliant with county, like dispatch?
Comm Center?
Yeah.
So Motorola Stone is the program that county uses,
Okay.
who we use nights and weekends for our dispatching.
Okay.
So who's the same system that they're running will be this. What we're doing is we're running off of their contract, but we're purchasing an extension to have the evidence and the RMS and the digital ticketing. So all of these things that you see as zero are the things that they provide, they pay maintenances for, which is what originally when I spoke to them about a quote, they had it so high. And then I went to Michelle at the Comm Center. She sat down, we looked at each other's line items, what she was paying versus what we were projected to pay. And we fought it out with them for a
This
while.
is the same thing Pulaski County Sheriff's using.
No, Pulaski County is using Crime Star still. For whatever reason, Sheriff Bench does not like Spillman. Personally, I think it's because they don't understand the usability of it. And also, from what I'm told, when the Spillman was first set off with county, no one came down to do the format for their agency. So none of it was set up for them. So there wasn't, the ordinances were incorrect, the state statutes were incorrect. So that when they were going down through there, it wasn't easier, it wasn't faster because they were having to go through all of those hiccups.
Have you talked to any other police department that's using a contract like this in Motorola to do all this?
No, just reading through reviews and listening to what they say on their online reviews.
Would it be handier to the prosecutor?
If the prosecuting attorney, Jeff or Hillman, gets on board with Spillman on their end, then we can bring our case from A to Z and then directly send it to them through a Spillman portal. If not, then we can print it out the same way that we have it now. We'll put it on a drive and take it to them.
You're walking with probable cause statements and police reports over now, right?
What's that?
You're driving them over there now, paper.
Driving, yes. So, and then another thing, they provide, I don't know half of what Spillman provides, but they do an automated, self-generated probable cause statement. They'll do any forms that I have on a Word document or a PDF, Spillman can take over and create a Spillman form for us that will auto-generate.
How much is the Crime Star rate? You know?
I don't know right offhand. I know when I first came in, we were 3 years back, I believe it was 3,000 or?
I think we were 1,800.
But the issue with Spillman, or not Spillman, the issue with Crime Star versus Spillman is we have 3 licenses with Crime Star. Each license to purchase costs anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500, but then you also have to buy a concurrent licensure maintenance fee if you want any officers to have Spillman, you can have up to 20 individuals with user IDs that can use them all at the same time, that can use them from any computer that has the program downloaded to it, as long as you're running through my network sign. And with that, then you don't have to worry about purchasing all of the individual concurrent licensure fees to be able to do multiple people at the same time, because anyone that you have on your user ID list can log in all at the same time, doing all the same work, accessing all the same information.
Wasn't there a way to do that for current starting?
There was, but you had to buy the $100,000 enterprise section or pay for the concurrent licensure. I believe you and I talked about that, right?
It's been a long time ago.
Yeah, we spoke about that. And you need, with Crime Star, you need NDT licenses and regular computer licenses.
So right now, you're talking about being able to send all this stuff straight to the county prosecutor, if he's on board with Spillman. Is he on? Had that discussion.
I have not spoken with him. And whether or not he is or isn't on board with that section, in my opinion, doesn't matter. We can still send it to him just as easy. I mean, if he wants to be on board, then it can be sent to him. If not, then we can send it to him just the same now, or print out the PDF and email it to him.
It just sounds like the system compiles the information
Yes,
in
it's
a more
all,
automated, organized manner.
yes, so the server base will be still in at Comm Center. We can house a hard drive or a server here to collect some of our information, like the mug shots and things of that nature. But everything is saved on Comm Center server. If everyone else would use it correctly, every time Waynesville or Crocker or Richland would pull over John Doe, I'll know as soon as John Doe gets pulled over what all of his pedigree is. Everything he has that the disposition of would be at my disposal as well.
Criminal history,
Everything.
it runs basically like mules, you have to go through and do a.
Correct. So in Spillman, there is you have local search and data search. So you can do your NICS, your Regis, your CGIS, and mules all from Spillman. And when you run that, it runs all of your actual law enforcement systems, and then it also does a local search. So all of your local stuff, if we have warrants here, Comm Center enters them in, and then it pops up that we all have local warrants, but then mules and DOR is also going to show up everything as well. So you have a drop-down panel similar to mules 3 or 4, where it shows all of those different things. It'll say the mules, it'll say NCIC, and it'll say there's a local event as well. It'll give you the ability to put those people in there with different types of caution indicators or different ways to have that extra level of officer safety because of the local search. Which I don't think when it was first brought out that it was sold to these other agencies correctly, because if it had been, they would have known that what they worried about was the other people being able to see their reports and their inter-office workings.
So does any other local agency around here have this?
The only other office in the area was St. Robert. They backed out because no one else was using it, so now they're running Crime Star and Spillman. From what I hear, I haven't spoken to him, but the original evidence tech for Waynesville absolutely loved the Spillman evidence. But whenever St. Robert backed out, so did Waynesville. They backed out on the pretense that everyone could see their information. They didn't like that because they thought they would be able to see everything their office was doing. But Spillman, the network is just like in the early 2000s, there was a lot of peer-to-peer sharing online. When you go on, if you had a server, you could select what files you want to share with your friends, everybody can download everybody else's music. It's a lot like that, where you can choose which of your files inside your data bank are viewable. If you want everything all the way down to your personnel, you can share it if you want. But if you don't want that, you can share just your reports, which if you share your reports, they're not editable, they're just read-only. So if someone says, hey, Joe Dirt got pulled over and arrested because of, distribution and possession, I wonder what happened. They could see that if you allowed them to look at that information. If not, so be it, then they'll just be able to see that he was arrested, and these are the information that he gave when he was arrested. But as far as the compliance, yes, NIMERS, UCR, if they were still using it, and racial profiling would be a huge alleviation of time and.
I mean, the networking would be worth its weight in gold, really. I mean,
If
everybody,
you know what-
if they had to do this training, can you bring in representatives from other departments for this training?
Yes, well, then if I'm paying $20,000.
That's what I was
should be able to bring everybody that want. And that's what I told Commissar, if we're doing this, send your people over, retrain them, have them updated on all the information.
To have a criminal history of your fingerprints in your car would save a lot of.
And that's with the MVTs in there, which is the biggest expense of the issue. The MVTs was the biggest expense. But now, with this, the digital citation brings up, part of their equipment package is scanners. So whenever we get the ID, registration paperwork, we can scan those barcodes, it'll pull it up in Spillman, and then there's an import from Spillman to digital citation. So then if we're not using digital citation, say it's just an investigation, we still have the usability of that scanner. And they update that scanner bank, I think, once every month or quarter, they said. So it constantly updates, they constantly have those additions of the new state IDs, the new federal IDs, all those different types of barcodes. They're readable.
Does it communicate with our court clerk system?
Yes, correct. As soon as it's submitted from the car, if they're in an area, which Dixon has a lot of, that we don't have service or the MDT isn't picking up signal, it will still run those numbers because each officer has a bank of numbers given to them. Once they reach a signal again, it will automatically upload those to a cloud base and then it disperses it to the respective place that it's supposed to go. If they are in the service area, as soon as they hit submit, it goes to the court clerk, the court, the show me clerk, or show me courts, and then anywhere else that you choose to send it. The only thing they don't have right now is an automatic send for racial profiling, but they said that if I was interested, that they would do some R&D on it. No one else has asked about it yet. But yes, it goes directly to all of those as soon as you submit it, and it goes back to the RMS as well. So the RMS system has the citation entry form that will autofill with the information from the digital ticket. The digital ticketing, like I've talked about before, not only is it for traffic, but it's also for nuisances. It's also for driver careless and improvements, for dog parking. Anything that we have an ordinance for, or the state of Missouri has a statute for, or an ordinance for, we can print out a UTT or a summons, and then we can put them into different types of court documents. I know we've talked before about doing just a nuisance court. Then we can have, there's a drop down, you can choose which court you're wanting to do a summons for. If you go to nuisance, then all of your nuisance violations show up, and here's your options. You print it, and it automatically goes to that nuisance docket. So then Kathy can go in and put all of these things on a docket, and then print it out and have it right there. It's fully interfaced with Show Me Courts. DigiTicket is the longest running user interface with Spillman and Show Me Courts. There's only 5 in the state of Missouri. That's the programs and the software. Some of them are programs for the RMS, some are just the software. Saltus, and then there's one other, are the programs, and the other ones are the full RMS. So if we wanted to go to a completely different RMS and CAD, we could, but DigiTicket, we already have Spillman. We already run Spillman CAD. So why not just go with Spillman RMS to link everything together?
Sounds like an expensive way to look back.
You're right.
I'm, honestly, from being law enforcement, my opinion, it comes down to dollars and cents, like budget-wise. how much Crime Star is gonna save us and then how much it's gonna cost overhead-wise. But I don't know, I don't know without seeing everything what the budget would be for something like that, but
The issue is
in
thinking.
law enforcement aspect, that would be awful handy to be able to pull somebody over and run your tags, and you know that that guy is, or he runs license, you know that he's fought police, or he's a flight risk, or he's had a narcotic violation, because that covers your butt. And then to know that if St. Robert uses this program also, if they pulled him over and say fought the police or whatever, then when you pull him over, then you know that.
Don't draw my stick, St. Robert did use the program.
They're not using an RMS anymore. The
That's the
issue,
only thing I know is that, I think county and St. Robert both bought it and backed out of it, and I don't know why.
it was the RMS that they backed up. Everyone said that they didn't like the RMS layout, and they didn't like that everyone could see their information.
Did they go through the training, the $20,000 training?
No.
Because I feel like they got something that they thought was really Crime Star.
Originally, when Spillman was set off, they invited everyone, Comstar paid for all the training. They said they had less than half a dozen people show up. They were the assistant chief or whatever from those agencies. There was no actual hands-on training for any of the officers or any of the brass to show them what it could do. But then also, that's also 8 years ago. So the advancements in the program from then till now.
If you could get on a network with them, that, like I said,
The issue with running a Crime Star versus jumping, because the Spillman, the software isn't the expensive part, it's the initial upfront.
right.
But if we stick with Crime Star, then I'm going to need some more user interface, I guess I should say. And then also, then we have to do more of we have to pay to have all the information taken from Spillman to Crime Star or Crime Star to Spillman, or we continue doing handwritten documents that say that the D incident number, the Dixon incident number from Spillman is this Crime Star number, and then we have to have a log of our.
I used Crime Star, I wasn't impressed with it.
No, it's.
But that was also.
When Crime Star was originally done, it was phenomenal. If you have the enterprise version of Crime Star, it still works flawlessly. But that's if you have the CAD and the RMS that communicate similar to what I'm trying to do with their Spillman CAD, our Spillman CAD, and the Spillman
So this is the
RMS.
equivalent of the $100,000 thing for Crime Star.
Yes.
For 38 minus whatever.
So it'll save us some time with our current court clerk because she wants to put the tickets anymore, correct? And then go straight to you for authorization.
He won't even have to enter the citation.
I've ordered the citations now, not her.
So, right now, as it sits, these citations are taken to him by hand, or he picks them up. And then he has to enter all of those into, which is him sitting there, putting all that information off those citations into the showing reports. And then he has to decide whether or not he's going to prosecute or not prosecute and sign those. This will allow it to send to him. He pulls it up, it has a digital copy of it because it originated digitally. Then he can sign it or not sign it, nolly it, or decide not to prosecute.
And they are all social security numbers, addresses.
Everything that shows up off of mules goes directly to that citation.
So now if you have to look at prior history as a prosecutor, what do you have to do?
He would have to run.
Just know.
Not for these kinds of, not for the citations I'm prosecuting for you, what, I don't know what Tillman does, but I mean, when you have enhancement, when you're.
Right. Because we
You're
had
kind of line, bumping it up or whatever, that's communicated to him.
because we had to print off criminal history and turn it in with the PC statement to show that there was priors, whatever the crime was, which was a pile of paper by the time you got to it,
And so all that personal information you will get by scanning with your scanner on the
It
back.
scans the ID, it runs it through mules, checks it against mules, NCIC, every database that they have available, even a local search. And then when I have all of those, I select which ones the import is, and I import it over to digital ticketing. There's a couple drop downs to figure out which court we're going to use, what citations I want to use, which is another thing. We can put up to 7 citations on each ticket versus writing out 7 tickets for each traffic stop. It takes most of your traffic stop averages from 15 to 20 minutes down to less than 6. as soon as that citation is submitted, it's sent it back to the RMS to complete your RMS citation. And then you can look those up if you want to share that, you can look it up for the other agencies. But then also it sends it to everyone that it's supposed to be.
Do we have any idea, like, what their average downtime is?
Of what?
Like, of the system, do they ever have much?
You mean as far as like repairs and things of that nature?
Yeah, or
Like
just-
reliability.
Yeah. Like,
I've not read any bad reviews. There's bad reviews on other companies.
what about the constant, do they?
They've never ran Digitech. This would be new for them, but they won't have anything to do with this because all that I'll be doing, or my officers will be doing, is we will either radio into them telling them we're on 10-6 on a traffic stop, or we'll do an on-site call with the MDT because now we have a traffic stop button. It pulls our GPS coordinates, shows that we're on a traffic stop, we scan the license and the registration paper, it pops it up, and then we're done now in less than 6 minutes. As far as the downtime for...
And you did talk to Comcenter, they're on board with it.
They love Stone. Their biggest complaint is that no one came down that mattered to take the information they were given back to the departments to show them what it was capable of. They downloaded the software, which is a cookie cutter software. They didn't have anyone come out doing this $20,000 format for their agency, putting our badge on there as a pretty picture, putting our officers in there, having it set up how we want it. They just bought the software, downloaded it, and tried to use it. If I try to use it right now, it's got a wish-wash of Chicago ordinances and Arkansas ordinances in there that I can pick from because it's not been formatted to us yet.
So going forward, when we need to add things, update things, is that built into our maintenance?
Yes. As far the
Like
adding-
new ordinances, new documents, new forms, whatever? Because you said that they could take a
That
photo
I don't
and
know.
have.
When I talked to them, they said, yes, we can do that, which, of course, everything possible. I've not read anywhere where anyone says, it's a great program, but I've been nickel and dimed to death. And I've read as many possible reviews as possible. Most of your larger departments are running Spillman. If you look at the bigger metropolitan areas, they're running programs similar to this. Maybe not this one, but similar to it. And none of them have bad reviews that I've seen. I'd like to think of myself as a skeptic. I try and find all the bad stuff first. I think of all the things that could go wrong, but I think it's a good step. I think it's a good step forward to keep us on track with evidence, so I don't end up worried every day that the state's going to shut me down. And all the other things that we can do with it in regards to just cleanliness and organization.
How many other small rural towns our size are using a program like this?
I can't hear you.
How many other small rural towns our size are using a program like this?
Crime Star. Everyone's using RMS. If you are to find an agency that's going to use pen and paper anymore. So everyone's going to have some type of program, whether or not they're on board with either their Central Square, their OmniGo, or their Saltus or Motorola Solutions. There are RMS and CADs out there. You can get RMS without CAD, but if you do that, then you're going to have to log all of your report numbers. You're going to have to make sure you keep a good log of that to keep everything in order.
How many of them are using this?
Spillman?
How many of them paid $40,000 and you paid $15,000 a year?
I don't have that answer.
Just.
Yeah, I don't know. The only other agency besides Pulaski County in the state of Missouri that I know of, I believe there's one just outside of St. Louis, and then there's one over in Warren County. And I have not contacted either of those.
In our competitors also with this, it doesn't, I'm just meaning a similar system, with the same scope, size, cost.
Just the scope of it, everyone's using similar things.
Cost.
I don't know.
Cost.
thing that I have knowledge of is Crime Star's cost, and Marys County right now is getting ready to move from, they were using Interpol, they're going to Central Square. I think Camden County uses Central Square. Rolla is getting ready to do Central, they've already gone to Central Square. They're getting their Central Square set up with digital citations, but they're waiting for the state to approve Central Square as a cohort for digital citations. But I don't know those monetary numbers for those other ones. I haven't checked into those because
You didn't check into Central Square?
I didn't, and the reason I didn't was because if we don't move from Prime Star to Spillman, there's no sense in me moving away from Prime Stars, because then I'm gonna be back in the same boat of, if I get an RMS, then it's not gonna communicate with Spillman anyway. So we're still up for like better than Shit Creek. But if we go to Spillman, then everything's gonna communicate. If I want to go to OmniGo or Central Square or one of those other ones, the only way it's gonna do what this will do is if I buy the full CAD RMS system, which is going to be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000.
And other than what you need for the digital e-tickets, are all your computers and your server and everything,
Which I already have.
with their software?
Yes. I already have each of my MDTs, or each of my vehicles has an MDT. I actually have 5 MDTs right now. I have 3 vehicles. Each of the MDTs has their own SIM card that's on FirstNet. We run internet access to each of them with the static IP. All of our computers run through the Sonic Vault for network access and filtering. The only thing that we have to do is have Digital Ticketing come in and install the software on the computer and install the printer into the vehicle as well. The money that's in there includes the printer, the scanner, thermal paper, and a caddy for that to mount some of the vehicles. It's all there, they didn't miss anything.
So is the reason that going with Spielman seems to be a much more cost-effective option than like the other systems you talked about? Is that because the Comm Center uses this already?
Comm Center already purchased that initial several $100,000.
So that is the reason that this is the best option?
Yes.
Okay.
What we're buying here is the add-on to what they're allowing us to use already. That's all those 0 add-ons. If we wanted to have all the things that they have, that would have been that $60,000, plus then we would have to keep up with the server. We don't have the money or the time to do a server of our own, and we definitely don't have 24/7 dispatch capabilities
I'm assuming we would have to have some type of agreement
with.
the Comm Center if
We
we're utilizing.
already have a yearly maintenance contract with Comm Center. That is just like with I have with the court here, and Comm Center, we have interoperability contracts for Mules terminal access. So anything that I have on Mules, they can see, anything they can see, I can have. We already have those contracts. We already have a maintenance fee that we pay with them for them to do our CAD dispatching as of now. That is, I think, roughly $2,500. I haven't talked to Whitney about whether or not that's going to become an inflation issue or not.
When's E360 supposed to be done with all of our e-code?
Well, they're hoping to be in the spring. But I don't know.
That's the ordinance vote.
Yeah, I just,
And Red is the key to that, and, you know, she's missed 2 meetings, so
when the topic I know was if we
it's a
could
little behind.
if we could update that with them at the same time, so that we all up to date.
There's always the opportunity of having a contingency that we know we're getting ready to have a codified ordinance book. And when that happens, it'll be digital, so it'll be easier for them to bring it in and reintroduce that to the system. And it's going to take some time for them to actually schedule to come out and do that. So, waiting until then? And then will it be July by the time that they actually got to get trained, or could we get into it now? And then let them know, hey, we're going to have a new set of ordinances. Not completely new, a lot of them will be the same, but it's going to be a little different, because it's not going to have the definition of in there. It'll just be the ordinances. So, they can come through, they can do all the state ordinances, all the state statutes, which those are, they change every year, but they're not going to change so drastically that it's not going to be usable. Certainly, I assume, I didn't ask, but with the rate that ordinances and statutes change, surely they have some type of yearly thing, or once a year we come and we update all of their ordinances. Because if not, then you're going to have a static ordinance bank, which would create an issue.
Yeah, that was kind of my question about if there's new information that needs to be put into it, is that included in our annual?
I don't know that answer. So those were
Because
things-
obviously,
those are things
stuff
that I
like that is
assume.
going to change, because we're always adding new ordinances, but, yes, everything else.
I assume, when I say assume, we don't know what happens when you assume things, that maintenance fee is going to include those things. I mean, why would I be paying a maintenance fee annually on 7 or 8 different things if they're not going to come through and update the things that the maintenance fees are on?
And based on this, the digiticket portion looks to be the more substantial maintenance.
Yes, and the reason for that is, it's a 3-year contract, and every year you pay that, but we're also not buying the equipment outright. Anytime that any of that equipment breaks, or there's a software update, or if something happens, they come out and they replace all the equipment, no charge. So that's built into that ticketing as a service.
Questions?
I would just point out a couple of things on the contract they sent. One, entering something this long on a contract and a subscription, you're gonna need to amend your budget. And I haven't seen your budget or where you get the money from. 2, the quote expires on December 31st. And then, like I said earlier, it's got a 20-page contract, and we'll have to read before you guys vote to go forward.
We'd have to write up ordinance on it.
And we have to write ordinance anyway to accept the contract, so if the council does want to consider this, I would want to call them and say, hey, send me an extended quote for next month, because I don't think we're meeting next week after Christmas. And that's the only one we have, and then you guys can have further discussion, be ready to pay.
That was up to the other departments to see about, I mean, if we go through with it to bring them in for training, that way everybody's on board, and maybe they can utilize what we're paying for, and then everybody can network together.
Well, and that was part of the reason we're having to, if we go with this stuff, we would have to buy into it, because when everyone backed out, Comcenter stopped covering all the charges. So originally, when they started all this was covered by Comcenter. But now they're not, so. That was one of the things I told us, if we end up going with this and it works, why not be the biggest advocate in the area? If it makes us better, why couldn't it make these other places better?
So what we need from you is, we need to know out of your budget what this will alleviate. So, current charges, we'll need to know that before the next meeting, so if you can get this to the board before our January meeting. Maybe reach out and ask them about the yearly updates on the ordinances and so forth, if there's a charge for that, or any other, unknown charges. The main thing is your budget is going to have to make sure that, which it should, you should have room in there, TJ, but at the same time, I think once we eliminate everything, let's see exactly what it's going to cost per year. So
offer to come here for a workshop or to answer questions.
They offered to send someone down for a demo and to answer questions, but it would have to be under a certain schedule because they, I guess, sending someone down for a regional, or they could do a favor with the electronic Zoom.
Maybe we can set that up for first meeting in January too, that'd be great.
Thanks, Mr. Baker.
Any other questions on that?
Well,
Yeah, motion.
60 days.
If not, any motion to go to closed. You can wait, Mr. Baker, if you want, but I don't anticipate us coming back out and having any further discussion.
I came down here, I believe I did that.
Yeah, the water.
Second.
Yeah, they're ready.
Tracy, Andy, Mary, that's right.